So in a short session I want to present an opening to Qi Gong forms. So I'm trying to put something that's fairly concise, so not going to go through that thing in great detail, just give you an introduction to some of the forms. Actually today I want to do an introduction to the introduction. Means the kind of preliminaries will take you into some of the more developed forms. So first of all, just to say, repeated basics. First of all, is 70% of effort, of applied effort, is maximum. 70% of applied effort. This is because energy works in two ways. You've got directive energy, which is your doing, and you've got receptive energy, which is your receiving. You see, so normally we don't necessarily recognize receiving as an energy, but it takes energy to receive and absorb and assimilate. And this is the energy that heals and refreshes and regenerates the body. Doing energy does things externally, receiving energy rebuilds. So we want to make sure that we've got plenty of available space for that receiving receptive energy. So 70% of effort, applied effort, is maximum. Mental attitude, again, is not determined. It's kind of light. It's light, almost playful, slightly humorous. It's gentle, gentle mind, because the two go together. The mind state, or the state of heart, and the state of the body should work together. So you can't push. This also means we have a respect for the body as an intelligent system, overriding it, which unfortunately we do most of the time. We push without thinking minds and drag the body along behind. Here you're actually going to try to reverse that, so if you don't quite understand, it doesn't matter, because your body knows what's going on. So, second principle, body to the fore, mental and emotional harmony with the body. Third thing, whole body. So every form includes the whole body. Whether the body bits are moving or not doesn't matter, because when I say the whole body, I mean the whole body as the body senses itself, right? So the body doesn't sense ears and eyes and teeth. It senses firmness, fluidity, space, imbalance or balance, harmony, discord. Call that the interoceptive sense, how the body senses itself. Extraceptive sense, how the body senses itself in the space around it. Okay, this is something we can overlook, but the body senses the space here, uncomfortable, therefore some gentle relaxation. And the other sense is the proprioceptive sense, how the body connects to itself. How when we do a movement, the left arm knows what the right arm's doing, the left knee knows what the right shoulder is doing. So it's all linked up. These are senses that get lost. So if we just begin to rebuild that, the primary sense of full connectivity, that itself is already a massive healing process. The body will work itself out if we maintain that connectivity, and there is just gently sense of energies through this living form. Today, this session, first of all, the standing position. As you can see, there's a specific kind of standing. Feet are parallel, not splayed. The legs are body width apart, could be chest width or shoulder width. Some people like to do it a bit wider. The knees are soft, ever so slightly bent. This means the legs are not stretched stiff and straight, and lightly flexed. It means you feel you've got some bounce there. You've got some, Now to get the sense of the whole body, often we experience the body in terms of segments: leg segment, trunk segment, head segment. Well, we want to break through those segments. So what we do is, particularly around this area here, where often we're folded by a chair into these two sections, is level this into a unity. And we do this by tucking the tail, ever so slightly tucking the tail under. So what you do is you level out this curve in the back, you see? Normally it might be like that, just leveling that out. This means the back flows into the legs. These big muscles here are relaxed, the back flows into the legs. So that means the whole body can move as a unity rather than bits, one bit stuck on top of another bit. Now, when this is profile, we stand like that, then the next thing is to, it sounds strange, but the back is going up, so you're lengthening the spine. Again, it's not really an effort, it's more like a visualization or imagination. Imagine your spine is climbing up through the crown of your head. Because this is one line. The front is hanging down. So imagine a coat hanging on the back of the door. So the front is descending and the back is ascending. Clearly it doesn't look much different, but in terms of the energetic qualities in the body, that's an important shift. Yeah. Because mostly in daily life we tend to forget the back altogether, all the senses are pointing out. Instead, actually acknowledging the back, all the way down. When I say the back, I mean all the way down to the feet and up to the crown. And the front hanging off that. Because you can't see your own posture, it's not unusual to be kind of standing like that, which is not good, or standing like that, which is not good. So a simple method to get the correct posture is to place one hand on your abdomen, one hand on your center of your chest, and you'll feel, oh no, that's out. That's about right. And of course, if you've got a friend, they can check it, because we do develop postures and we don't know what we look like. Also, the head, for most people, will tend to tip forward because clearly we're visual creatures. So make a little effort to draw the crown of the head. So if you string here, pulling your head up, so it tends to draw the chin slightly down. You can get a fist in there. And relax the face and give more attention to the whole skull. Yeah? So we instead of being like that, we can come like that. Another piece of posture, which quite significant, is the arms. Now in Qi Gong, the arm begins here, not here. This means your arm is always connected to your back. So we do forms that move the arms, in effect, across the back, so you're not doing this. So we get the shoulders in and slightly sinking the chest, widening the back. And you've got some good space here. Right. And take some breaths, because for sure, once I describe it, most of us will do it a bit too stiff and rigid. So let's just get so the body feels nice and loose in that. It's not rigidified. And of course, the great loosener is the breath. Sometimes where breath can properly descend. And descending breath, you feel that breath energy, breath track moves down, and you come to a point where it's sort of, there's a certain solidity here. Yeah? Now imagine the breath like a big ball that shrinks down to a little ball. It sits on top of this bag, like an egg in a nest. So bring your attention down to there. That's the centre of your body. Okay. Now, feet. Said feet are parallel. Because most of the time we're wearing footwear, so feet don't really know the ground. So get them familiar with the ground beneath you. Flex the toes, stretch the sole lightly. And we're going to open the sole of the foot, this area. So when you stand, toes are not carrying weight. The ball of the foot carries weight and the heel carries weight. The toes are available for flexion. And that means when they're light and loose and flexible, the sole of the foot is also relaxed. And we want to get that under arch of the foot to feel as if you're listening to the earth through the soles of your feet. So let your attention go all the way down to that area. Okay. And then gradually, as if you're expanding the lens, zoom lens, from there, without losing the ground, extensively and continually extending your attention till you can come just above your head. This is not going to happen in 10 seconds. Up your back, neck, crown. Now, crown is in line with the ears. Shaven-headed person like myself very easily recognises the crown because you slide your finger along that, you feel this little notch, which is where the sutures, fontanelles, or whatever they're called, a little notch there. That's the crown, right in the centre of the head. So this point here, and the points and the soles in the under arch of the foot, imagine they can line up. So the way our head, centre of the head is aligned through the knees and the soles of the feet in alignment. And take some breaths. Breathing is through the nose. Breathing is centered here, a ball expanding. The body and even beyond the body. All directions, down, up. Now when we stand, we bring our knees over the centre of the feet, so the legs are much more bowed, yet the under arch is open. And an important point is that the inner thigh, you see normally our legs might be like that, or it's slightly more like that. So the inner thigh is opened, and this is much more sensitive than the outer thigh. So you want to get those sensitivities to be opened, and we have the groove here between the abdomen and the leg, and where your lymph glands are. This, when we get that groove to be opened. Don't stretch it, just open it. No stretching, no strain, just stand and let the body do its own opening. It's called, this area is called the Qua. These are called, I call these the Qua grooves. There's this and this. This is called the shoulder nest. Another area that can be closed, doing things. Once you've got your shoulder blade in the right position, this opens up. And again, we've got lymph glands here. So the more space we can get around these, the more they can do their work properly. And it helps to get the chest to feel more open without being pushed forward. So you widen the back, open the shoulder nest, sink the chest. Because the front, we want to keep the front soft. It's your standing position. And we can return to that at any time. That's your basic station. You can always return to it. Or just letting things settle down and assimilate. Now, most of us will probably have some stiffness or restrictions in our bodies. The most obvious ones are the joints. And why we don't get the muscle, we keep the muscles soft. So again, it's no hard muscle, difficult for energy to travel through hard muscle. Muscle soft, energy travels through it, like heat moves through something, like it's a warming effect. Muscles are hard, they tend to block it. If the muscles are hard, they tend to pull the joints together. What I want to do is soften the muscles so the joints can feel slightly more open, then the energy can travel through. Now, a lot of this stuff is not intentional, it's just it's become inbuilt. So let's do a few forms, a few movements, just to bring flexibility back. We'll start with the feet, flex the toes, and turn the ankle. In all directions, flexing, down, back, pull it back, push it down. Pull your hand, when you pull your feet up, make your toes like a fan. When you push it down, make them like a claw. So this stretches the muscles on the top of the foot and also on the sole of the foot. Helps them to extend, so they can get very stiff when they're trapped in footwear. So plenty of flex in the ankles and the feet. Same for the other one. And of course you can do this for as long as you like and work with your own twinges and stiffness in a gentle manner. It's not if I use the word stretch, it's perhaps the wrong word. It's lengthening and extending and lubricating. Next set of joints, the knees. Bring the feet quite close together. You bend the knees just so you can see your toes poking out from your kneecaps. And slide down till the root of the fingers, the base of the fingers, is just gently touching the knees. Don't put your palm on your knee. If you put your palm on the knee, likewise you're going to lean on your knees. Just put the base of your fingers on your kneecaps, so you're tracing. Keep your palms open and receptive. And take 20, 25, 30 turns. Nice, the wider the better. Start cautiously and slowly. Wide and slow. So you can do your 25 in one direction, You hear a lot of creaks and groans coming out of them. Take it easy, so I'll cut that short and then 25 in the opposite direction. And we return. Next, hip joint. So we've got where the leg comes into the pelvis. So normally, this is a movement we're pretty familiar with, doing this. How many times you do that? Probably never. So we can get more movement into that joint, more fluid it's going to be. Nice and light, lift the leg up, like no muscle, lift it from here. Let the toes dangle and trail it around. And you can do extensions. So you flow from the hip down to the toe. Standing on one leg is good for developing balance. Of course, if you're not too good, put your arms out there, help you to be more sustained balance. Lifting, and see if you can just play with big circles in all directions. And feel what's happening in this whole region here, including this region. So a much more advanced one of those is when you standing, draw your calf up to your thigh, just like you're lifting your leg over a fence. Right? Lift your entire leg over a fence. Once you get comfortable with that, try to get a wheel. So you pull it all the way back and forward. So you pull the leg back, lift it from the hip and over. Yeah. This will help to massage these tissues here. You can do that with both legs. Okay, so we work there now. Let's come up to the arm, over the shoulder. So just imagine this has got no muscles in it at all. You start to just use your shoulder rotors around. Throw the arm away. So you learn how to localize muscle, if you like. So I'm just using the shoulder, switch off all this. So that the energy coming from this can easily travel through the entire arm. If the arm is stiff, you can't travel. Now when we come to other forms, that's just loosening things up. Some practitioners maybe begin their entire session just doing 5 minutes of this. It seems absolutely nothing. But the rhythm, that rocking rhythm, is very supportive for a mind state. Yeah. And feeling the whole body, and here, as with slightly unusual, the main thing is to throw the arm back. Throw the arm back, let it swing forward. You don't pull the arm forward, you go back, and you get the rebound effect. So it gets quite light and joyful. Because you're not lifting, carrying weight. You let the energy move the weight. Right back. Let the energy of the rebound lift the arms. And you can continue doing that for a few minutes. And then things don't exactly stop. It's not like things we call it subsiding. So you gradually turn down the energy. The rocking becomes imperceptible, but it's not like you actually stopped. And this subsiding feature, whereby one form subsides, another form arises out of it, so there's no break. And break, you cut the energy. You want to keep the energy light and fluid, so you let things subside. You might return to standing until you want to incline towards another form. That particular phase I liken to taking a boat into the harbour and cutting the engines, so the boat just drifts. And then it's still in the water, it's still got that floating sense. The floating sense is what we want to arrive at, as if the body is floating. Then the weight, we lose weight. The feeling of weight. Clearly, physically you weigh the same thing, but the feeling of weight is something that can be considerably reduced. Weight generally means you're tense. So, proper standing, you feel almost like you're floating. And if you try to figure out where the weight's coming from, most people will experience it here. Because all the energy's up here and it's got tense. So you want to actually learn to drop, sink down to that center point where the ball rests in the nest. And the energy begins to drain from being overcharged up here into the proper place, which is the center. Okay, let's take on the form. This one is the Qua squat. Qua is this band here. So you might return to where the breath subsides and you feel a certain place there beneath the navel. Imagine you've got a little ball resting on that line. And the ball is going to rock like a pendulum. As it rocks, pivot at the hip. Don't pivot at the waist, pivot at the hip. If you do this, you're going to immediately compress everything. Do this remains uncompressed. And then as you come up, it begins to lengthen. Okay, Qua squat. Now, taking that fundamental movement and then continuing it by bending the knees and breathing out. Into the out breath, Wait until the in-breath begins, breathing in. Breathing out. Bending at the knees, turning at the hip. Inhalation. If you work with visualization, if you can imagine that ball here is descending down through the knees. As you breathe in, the ball climbs and then comes up into the chest. Into the belly and into the chest. So it comes into the chest. When I mean the chest, I don't just mean the front, I mean the whole barrel. Opens in all directions, both this way and this way. This means the shoulders come in. And as the form develops, you can see a sense of the shoulders coming round slightly. And then belly, chest. And naturally, after a few turns, you begin to sense your hands. Keeping the muscles relaxed. This means the energy in the body can then travel out through the skin. And see that normally the muscles form a kind of an internal armour shell underneath the skin. So if that shell is released, the energy within the body begins to travel through the skin because it's unimpeded, and you get a slight tingly sense. The energy we're talking about is not zap, it's a very gentle steaming effect, pervasion, in which the soft surfaces open, with the inhalation, and the hard surfaces wrap around with the exhalation. Soft surface is very obvious, slightly different colour. Palms of the hands, inner surfaces of the arms, chest, face, inner thighs, soft surfaces. The areas that you would defend. You defend it by wrapping the hard surfaces around them. So, inhalation, opening the face. And the hands, palms of the hands, breathing out, as protecting. Squat. And with using it in synchronicity with the breathing, because when you're doing this opening, It's an opening here, means the breathing can become much longer and more gradual. So we get quite a long, gradual breath, which is very calming, but also rather joyful. Very open, joyful. So just let that one subside for a moment. And the arms hang, float. So after a while you begin to sense the energy decides how the body will be. Sometimes it's like that. As it quiets down, the arms may drop. You wait. Let the energy complete itself. So the energy keeps doing its thing after you've finished your movement. And that's the unpredictable beauty, because that's when the energy is able to then permeate all the tissues that need it. You don't know where they are, because this is beyond your mind to know, but the body knows. Oh, opening there. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, you're suddenly, that thumb released. I'm starting to shiver. That's okay. Oh, finished. Just another stage of that one, under Kwa Squat. A little more extended. This does more for this shoulder nest area here. Similar thing, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. At this point, keep breathing out and straighten the legs. Fingers pointing straight to the floor, palms open. End of the out breath, then bend the knees, breathing in, breathing, scoop. And turn. Scoop. Keep turning this arm in this joint. Breathing out. Breathing in. Opening the soft tissues. And breathing out. Let's let that one subside. One thing that you don't do, I've seen people do this, is say you're coming up. No, you don't throw your head back. Because sometimes it's very nice, lovely. But you don't throw your head back, because then you're actually, you want to keep this line straight, you see, because the energy can travel. Otherwise you put a kink. If you've got a garden hose, you put a kink in it, the water's not going to travel, is it? So you don't want any kinks, you don't want even a nice kink. So keep the head where it is, a little more restrained, and instead of sensing going up, sense your energy going wider. So down to your fingertips and palms of your hands. So keep the spinal axis straight. energy will travel up that spinal axis, but don't put a bend in the spine, in the neck. Okay, I've got a couple more to show you. This one is called pulsing. I'll do this both this way and also in profile. Every now and then just check because your feet tend to splay out. So you come back and bring them back to get in the right position. Knees over the centre of the feet. So what we'll do here, breathing out, pushing the tail back. Breathing out, push the tail back, bend the knees. Push the tail back, bend the knees, let the arms dangle. Breathing out. So complete this. Breathing out, bend the knees. As you get to the end of that, breathing in, keep pushing the tail back, extend the arms forward, inhalation. Now straighten the legs. Exhalation, release. Inhalation, return to upright. Profile. You can see the line of the leg. Inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation, inhalation. Slow as it comes into fruition, it tends to become more slower because you get a much longer breath. Because with this, what's happening is you're actually extending by pushing drawing your tail back and letting your arms be taken away from you. Imagine like seaweed being pulled out on the ocean. So that's getting long in that direction. Tail's going back, so you're lengthening this. This means there's a lot more room in there. Now breathe myself upright. Breathe upright, up the spine, into the crown of the head. Okay. Now with these you can do any number. 10. 5, 10, whatever feels right, and how much you have time for. Another one, string puppet. The arms nice and loose. So what you do is imagine, like a old-fashioned, one of those old-fashioned wooden puppets, where it's all bits and pieces. String running through it, so it's got no muscle at all. You can just throw it in the corner, just be like that. Sometimes you probably feel like that. Never mind. Because here we're going to actually get the string puppet into a nice, smooth condition. Because the one who's pulling the strings now is not some sense of urgency, but very careful marionetta, puppet master. Strings on the back of the wrists. Pull. She or he's going to draw the arms up as we breathe in. They're hanging there. As the arms sweep towards the ears, turning in the joint, in the arm joint, turning. Draw the fingers back, open the palms, breathing out. Stay with it, don't drop your attention. So smoothly trailing that circle. Exhalation, inhalation up through the center. Flip the fingers open, breathing out, opening the hand. Breathing out, keep breathing out. Through the nose. Inhalation. Okay. So a couple of points there. One is when your arms come up, make sure your chest drops. So you don't climb, you actually hang. It might help if you just slightly bend your knees to give your body the message, I'm hanging, my body's not going up, my body's hanging down. The arms being taken away from me, so a lot of lengthening here, and then widening, opening the hands, breathing all the way out. Keep breathing out through the nostrils, up through the center. The hand, see, when it's coming up, it's loose like this, like a bunch of grapes. Imagine water streaming off it. When it comes down, imagine your out-breath is like balloons. So you're sort of inflating, yeah? And not just that, but it's like you've got a ball here that's expanding. Yeah? So we take that and groove out, yeah? Grasping groove. No, don't stretch it, just expanding as if you're inflating the hands through the breath. The breath runs along here, expanding, descending, and subsiding, empty inhalation. Now, it can be the case that you're struggling because your breath is only this long and you're trying to cover it over this span. Yeah? So sometimes it seems like you can't keep breathing in, or your out breath is finished about there. Yeah, well, don't strain. I mean, it will tend to lengthen because you open this cavity up here. And you can imagine breathing out like air coming out of a tyre. So moderate the out breath a little through the nostrils. Very calming. Breathing in a little. and subsiding. So what the body does is the interoceptive sense internally. One is seen in Buddhist sutras, one contemplates the breathing internally. Interoceptive sense. Extraceptive sense is the sense of, all this. I'm in this bubble. I breathe out into this bubble. So you're kind of extending and smoothing energy out through the exterior field, drawing it back into the internal field, nice and smooth, and then breathing it out through the body into the space around you. This means that the energy then is very smoothed and opened, because clearly in busy, hustly situations, your external sense is pretty, this is mine, you can balance. So it's quite agitated or closed. You close it off altogether and go up into our heads. And as you open that external sphere, there's a lovely smoothing, calming effect. The body feels really comfortable. And it begins to learn, this is really what breathing is. It's not just pumping air down into your lungs. It's this sense of expanding energy that harmonises the internal, the external, and the movement. This is a great introduction for mindfulness of breathing. So those are some forms. And we come to introductory forms. We've begun to open the body, feel the body as a unity, experience energy as a kind of calm, smooth vitality. Beginning to release chronic tension and even subliminal tension, like in the guts where we hold ourselves together. And then the result is you feel pretty light, grounded through the feet and open. And you might just come spend some time standing, returning. The palms of the hands can feel quite lively. So this is your Qi, your vitality, and you close the session by vitality in the hands, drawing it back to the centre. So if you're storing it away internally. And then even when you got it in there, you drop your breath down into it. Like if you're dipping a bucket into a well, and as you breathe in, you spread that through areas of your body, your eyes, your neck, your throat. You almost like focus as you breathe in, focus on your eyes, on your throat, on your liver, lungs. No, take some time, just like, I think we term it washing, internally washing the body. Again, this might be a minute or two. And then when you feel nicely settled, still got plenty of juice in your hands, so you can kind of wash the skin. And that is a good way to spend a few minutes.